Recording. 3, 2.
Hey, Scott Jordan here and Mark Warner for Jancast number 90. Can you believe that, Mark?
Hi, everybody.
And it's March 18th, 2021. In case you are watching this in 2030, you know what year it is, 2021. Jancast number 90. So our normal Jancast, Mark, is informational stuff.
You had me thinking there. Jancast in the 2030.
Yeah, what would the number be?
Yeah, right. Anyway,
I'll be in my walker going, I'm coming, Mark. Just
that
a
walker
second.
will be on a foil. I can tell.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, you'll be levitating at that point. So a normal Jancast is kind of bring you up to date with what's going on, and we don't really push a whole lot of products and that type of thing. But we've been doing a lot of webinars, Zoom meetings for the last couple of days, and we've been really focused on what we've got in a new publication just came out about, do you know what extreme cleanliness is? So we decided we're going to do, Jancast number 90 is going to be about extreme cleanliness, to give people more details and what they could look for coming down the pike with various things. So I'm going to let you explain, because you're the keeper of knowledge for extreme cleanliness.
So, thank you. So, part of this is understanding what the new expectations are going to be once we get post-COVID. We get past the COVID lockdown. Everybody wants to get out. They want to start going into businesses, whether it's restaurants or stores that they used to frequent, grocery stores, DIY stores for hardware, or even hobby stores. You know, nobody's been going to stores. Nobody's been going to restaurants. Even offices are thinking that they're eventually going to bring employees back into the offices. Well, all of this is going to create this expectation of extreme cleanliness. And the reason for that is nobody sees a guy walking around spraying and disinfecting things.
Right.
That's generally happening either after hours or off shift, or if they are in fact doing it, it's just a short whip through a room and nobody's necessarily seeing that presence. But what people do see is the conditions of the floors, the condition of the carpets. They are able to detect odors in the air, you know, and all of that is how people are detecting whether or not, or making a decision whether it's safe to be in that building. Their perception of its level of clean.
Yep.
So the reality of it is that if you're walking into a building and you're seeing soiled floors and dust laying on fixtures and soiled carpets, there's no way you're going to believe that somebody professional came in and disinfected or sanitized it the night before. Your big question would be, what were they doing? Spraying it down on dirt? All that creates is mud.
Yep.
So the reality is that those decisions are being driven by the conditions of the facility. And obviously what people are looking for, what you're looking for, what we're looking for, what 5.6 billion people on planet Earth are looking for, is some indication that what they're walking into has been cared for, that it's at a level of cleanliness that would be safe, something we call extreme cleanliness.
Yeah. And then you've got the facilities that have been closed, and then they've got issues in their own. They got their own problems because they've been closed for a while. We talked about that a while ago, about mold and mildew, and some of these motels and hotels just shut their doors, figured, well, we'll just shut everything down, everything will be great. They open the doors up, and oh my God, that's even you got to get rid of that before you even get into extreme cleanliness.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just rooms being closed down, offices, other types of rooms just being closed, the lack of airflow, the moisture that holds, you know, allows mold and mildew to grow. Besides that, let's think about things we live with all the time. You're talking about like carpets, and you get traffic lanes coming from soil. You get spots that generally are not coming from soil.
Yeah.
I mean, those spots are generally not grease and oil. They're normally food spills, drink spills. These are organic materials that have caused these spots. And in a lot of cases, these spots and stains on the carpet have been allowed to sit there for months because the rooms have not been occupied. And the reality of it is this is not just grease and oil. This is actually biological microorganisms fermenting and decomposing in the carpet.
You put it so nicely, Mark.
Kicking off odor-causing bacteria in the air, which is then entering your body through your nose. It's horrible.
Yes.
And the other thing is if you're walking in and you're smelling odors, you gotta wonder, if they can't figure how to go after easy bacteria like odor-causing bacteria, why would I believe they can go after sophisticated pathogenic microorganisms like bacteria and viruses? They can't just deal with the simpler things like odor-causing bacteria.
So the first thing they got to do is do what? They got to establish some level of...
So all this has kind of led to Extreme Cleanliness started with a concept of expectation, and it's got registered as a trademark based on more.
By the way, that's our trademark. In case anybody was wondering, don't use it.
So the idea is to build something around it that would actually have some concrete value to it, and that would be the ability to use some basic tools in order to do an extreme cleanliness audit.
For a benchmark. Right?
In order to establish a benchmark or a metric for the level of clean that facility has. Ideally, what does that mean? It means identifying things that cause a fail or a deficiency count when you do an audit. Now, the beauty of that is that when you are able to identify what are those deficiencies, like, well, the floors aren't cared for, and the carpet's got spots and traffic lanes, and there's odors in the bathroom, those are deficiencies, they're fails. Now, you're able to identify them, and so you can set off by establishing a metric or a benchmark of how clean we are now. And now Scott says he's got some products, and Alex has some equipment, and I got some training, and all of that stuff can be purchased to improve. And the big question comes up is, what does that return of investment look like? And the idea is do a benchmark audit up front, make your changes, purchase the chemicals, the equipment, and the training, or whatever you might want to do, either one of those or all three, and then come back in 6 months or 9 months and do a subsequent cleanliness audit. And now you've got concrete numbers in order to measure what your return on investment has been. What was my value that I gained other than it looking better? And it's also about getting away from subjective opinions like, yeah, this looks clean. Yeah, that smells good. You know, to hey, you know, we're using meters and we're coming up with real objective measurements.
And businesses like that type of information, because it's not like, oh, I'm going to make your building look cleaner. No, I'm going to make your building be
measured cleaner.
Yeah, measured cleaner, so you can actually identify the things. Okay, we got a major problem with carpet. That's the worst. So let's start there. At least gives you some direction as to, I don't know where to start. Should I disinfect? Should I strip and recoat my floors? You're probably going to identify one or two things that are going to be worse than other areas, and then it gives you the ability, okay, do we have the equipment to do it? Do we have the personnel to do it? All those things that would come, any other business would use as metrics to drive what they're going to do. Do we need a new truck? Well, I don't know. Well, let's just buy one. No, you don't. Nobody does that.
Well, it also helps prioritize where those dollars go, and that was a good point you made there. It's like if you have a sailboat and you got several holes in the hull, you always patch the biggest hole first.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're busy patching while you're dropping underwater, right? So you might have a guy that...
Do you have experience with that?
Uniquely. So, you know, you might have a guy you really like running it. He said, I want a ride-on auto scrubber. All right, I like you, I got that. And then somebody else that you really like, and they say, I want a ride-on carpet extractor. Okay, got it. Somebody else says, hey, I want an all-surface, high PSI bathroom cleaning machine. Okay, I like you too. Now I got 3 people that I all like. They're all asking me for something different. I don't have unlimited resources. What do I get first? And then how do I defend that to the other 2? Oh, that's easy. We had a cleanliness audit done. We were able to identify that our biggest deficiency came from the floors. So the first thing I'm going to do is get that auto scrubber in play. Then I can effectively change, most dramatically, our cleanliness measurement, our audit metric.
Yeah.
And the next move, and I can justify that to the other two that I also like, but that had the most deficiencies prior. And then CFOs and people involved with the P&L also see a lot of wisdom going into what's being requested.
Yeah.
It's not just Scott wants me to
Yeah.
get him a new backpack because he thinks it's slick. You know, it really boils down to our biggest deficiencies were vacuuming on carpet.
Yeah, the audit says
And
this
the
is
audit
what we
says
should do.
that.
Yeah.
And look at this, we did it.
Right.
Nailed it. We're not getting those deficiencies. So it's a way of taking the art of cleaning and bringing into it the science of cleaning.
Perfect.
Do you like that?
Science, that's good. Good. I've heard a lot about science lately. I wonder what. But this applies not only to our distributors that are possibly watching this and distributor salespeople, is also end users. So it's information for multi-level attack.
There is. There's actually, working with the ISSA, there's actually a career path. It's a brand new career path of being a professional, accredited auditing professional.
Yeah.
So it's AAP through the ISSA.
Yeah.
And that takes a big investment, time and money. The equipment, the ATP meters and indoor air quality meters and all the stuff that would go into doing that as a profession. But that profession really didn't exist before.
No.
It's only been all these things that have happened that have brought that up into the limelight, that people are now aware that, and they're paying attention to cleaning. It doesn't boil down to who's the cheapest guy I can get that doesn't know how to clean to come in and do my building.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about, you want to come into my private space and do cleaning? How do I know you know what you're doing?
Good point. Yeah, yeah.
You know, so that's where all of this education, training, certification, all now has far more traction than it ever used to.
Actually, it makes me think of the old, back in the day, the big thing was day cleaning, remember?
Yeah,
About-
Ian Gregg talked about that.
About cleaning around the guys while they're in their offices. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
With the COVID thing and masks, everybody's going back to, the cleaners are at night and the workers are during the day.
That's certainly
That was a hot thing back
certainly
in the day.
spinning that way, and that was all driven by the 9/11.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, that was security concerns. Now we have health and safety concerns.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
health concerns primarily. So that causes a change in the tactics and the strategies that are used. The tactics are something Ian Gregg talked about with day cleaning, which was how do you work in and around people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the strategies that come into play is stuff that guys like David Frank and so on
Yeah.
would outline: team cleaning versus specialist cleaning versus gang cleaning versus zone cleaning. And all of those things come into play. And when you talk about that with folks, it's always fascinating to people that there's so much real science that's wrapped around the strategies, the strategic element of cleaning beyond just here's how you clean a toilet.
Yeah, well, very good stuff. So we have some tools up here. We're not going to get into them right now, but if you're interested, you can email us. So we'll send you some more information. We got the mirror.
Mirror
we got
on a stick.
a microscope for looking at carpet. We got the
Flash that at the camera.
the black light.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wait a second. I see somebody out there in the audience that appears to. So.
And the white glove. Can't
And
forget the
yes,
white
you
glove.
Can't forget the white glove. But thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this segment of Jancast number 90. Won't be long now. We'll be at 100.
So true.
Yep. So let's
And
get.
we'll be coming at you with some new cleaning tips next week. This
Yep.
week's been very engaged with this strategic element of planning
Yes.
that wraps around extreme cleanliness, which is why we did that as a theme today. But
Yep.
next week, we'll be talking a little bit more with cleaning tips, and we'll, in the meantime, we'll get back to work.
Thanks for tuning in from the Bullen Broadcasting Studios.
Thank you all.
Thank you.